Anyway, that's a German song. And pretty much, she's a pretty good singer, and she sings some of the Lutheran songs as well. This is pretty interesting. Yeah, she has a pretty good voice. Like for example, ein Festenberg ist unser God. Our God is what do you call it? I'm not even sure what it's called in English. But anyway, the most popular song of Martin Luther. So anyway, just so I was just talked to some days ago. I talked to. And by the way, Shabbat Shalom. Have a good day of rest. It's the seventh day. Now again, just took some pants on because apparently I have a mirror up there which apparently loves to show my white legs, and that's not the idea of it. Well, there's still some leg on the but yeah, that's just how it is. So I do have shorts on, so it's not this time. Let's see here. It's just never getting, always forgetting that there's this mirror up there. Anyway, so, having different Bible programs and all that. My Sword Bible time, Bishop, and Bible. And actually, I need to write to Bishop. I wrote them on the mail, and they actually wrote back. So apparently they do seem to, because I was asking them, hey, couldn't you, do you have the old version, It's like every, so many times when you update an application and they put something new in it that you don't like, and it's like, why did you, if it doesn't, if it's not broke, what's it called? If it's not broken, why fix it? Because there's no need to. Anyway, but apparently some people wanted more information and all that. So in the thing when you need to push again, and let's just open it up and you can see what I mean. This was also something new in regards of the picture. I'm not sure about that. I think beforehand there was no picture, just open up the application, which was fine for me. But, in the past you could just put, you could just pull, from the side and it would just come up, very easy, But now you need to push up here and then you need to push there. It's a minor thing. I do understand it's a minor thing, but it's just, it worked pretty well beforehand. Just worked. This is just I think it's annoying. I'm not entirely sure why they did that, but anyway, they wrote back and wanted my view on it. I haven't written back yet, so I need to fix that at some point. Just to give the problem is they want like I guess a silver bullet solution and all that, and I'm not sure, I just, I don't know what they have planned, they are the programmers, but in regards of, fixing it from the left to the right was just, it worked, so if they could just do that, they could pretty much, I guess, make a silver bullet in regards of, then just, yeah, I don't know. It's just, why not? I don't, yeah, anyway. So I was talking to a guy in regards of, the light, apparently. And I was promoting My Sword Bible. It is the, whatever, that pretty much isn't anything as good as My Sword Bible, I don't think there's any other program that that reaches for on that level. My Sword Bible is just the best. That's yeah. But of course it is free. But if you want all the features, you need to. I used it like 2 years or something like that before I actually donated, as they call it, to get the rest of the features. It's like, if you want to search more than 200 lines and all that, if you're doing research, and have 10,000 search hits or whatever, you need to pay them. donate them, whatever. I don't, if it doesn't feel like donating, that doesn't really, you're paying for something to get, yeah. Anyway, other places, where they have this, if you donate, you will get this and all that. Well, it doesn't really then become donating, does it, you need to donate such and such amount of money to, Anyway, whatever. Just feels like it's, donating would be to give something to someone without expecting anything back, right? If you want to support a good cause, or you can see that, okay, this is pretty good, I want to support this, and not expect anything in return. Anyway, so different programs and all that, and I was talking in regards to the light, and this is I'll just close this one. So this is Matthew 7. I'm still trying. The application looks pretty good, I guess. It's in regards to the King James version, and Matthew we have 7. Judge that ye be not judged. I've had some, difficulties with this because, how am I going? Because in regards to the Antichrist, well, the Antichrist is the triune tyrant. Well, I don't know if that helps you much, but in regards to the triune tyrant is the Roman Emperor. It's the Roman Caesar. It's the Pontifex Maximus, the Pontiff, the so-called Pope, the so-called Holy Father, his so-called holiness and all that. I tend to use some other words and all that. But, in regards of, reading, judge not that ye be not judged. I'm like, is that to say that I'm not going, in regards of warning people in regards to the Antichrist and all that. So I've been thinking a little over this, and Jesus or Yeshua actually says down here, I think he is actually exposing the Roman Catholic Church pretty much. But anyway, you shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of tittles and all that? And I really didn't understand that Yeshua would reject, people that actually confess him. But of course, Yeshua is warning us about wolves in sheep clothing. Now, what is the, in regards of, he's talking about whosoever does not do the will of my Father. And the question is, what is the will of the Father? Well, apparently the opposite, thing of what he rejects these people that says, Lord, Lord, haven't we done wonderful things? Here we actually go. He says, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that does the will of my Father which is in heaven. Actually, usually heaven in Hebrew is actually plural. And I'm like, okay, why? I didn't understand that at the beginning. How is it that we, we are told that if we confess Jesus, right, that we are, Yeshua, that we are saved, right? But then again, no. We have to, that's not exactly the truth, it seems, because, Yeshua is saying, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Now, what is the will of the Father? Well, we see what Jesus actually rejects people for, and this is a future thing, this is, something that hasn't happened yet. So Matthew 7:23 says, and then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. And iniquity is lawlessness. And in the Greek, it actually, is it anomia, something like that. Now, of course, I guess this program can't really go behind because it's only the King James Version, as I understand it. But anyway, anomia, I think the word is anomia, that is without law. So what is the problem? What is the thing that Jesus is pointing out? Well, it seems like, these people that says, Lord, Lord, and, haven't we prophesied, many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? So these people are calling him Lord, Lord, and apparently have prophesied in his name, have, cast out devils in his name, and done wonderful works in his name. Yet, They sound pretty Christian, doesn't they? But what is the problem? Well, iniquity. Ye that work iniquity, ye that work lawlessness. Anomia. I think the word is anomia. We can go over to the other program here. Which again, I think this is pretty much, this is actually also an interesting thing here. Her priests have violated my law and have profaned my holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and profane, neither have they showed difference between the unclean and clean, and have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths, and I am profaned among them. Her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves raving the prey, to shed blood and to destroy souls, to get dishonest gain. Now, I think we have some problems in our days in regards to these things, in regards to the Roman Catholic Church. Anyway, let's go to Matthew here, Matthew 7. See here, and there we go, and we'll just go over here and we'll just fix show strong tags. I do wonder if I actually I think there's an option where you can actually do you can do a lot of things with this application. It is pretty much just a powerful, really, really powerful Bible application. I don't think there's anything else out there that gets to the point of this program. This is just the best, that is on Android. After many years of testing many programs, this is, this is just the best. Now, there are things that are, for example, the Geneva Bible commentary is not there. Now, and that would be one of the commentaries, if anything, I would be interested in. I don't know in regards to the background of those that program the program, but apparently the Geneva Bible commentary is not found. But, you can get it from, for example, Bishop Bible Time and Bible, I think. At least Bishop have it, Bible Time, I think, as well. That's certain in regards. I think it also is in and Bible as well. But these three applications that I've just mentioned is pretty much they're free. I think they're open source actually, and they're using free sources and all that. But that's absolutely in regards to researching the Bible deeper and all that. There's a long way to the other application, that is the My Sword Bible. But there are some things that My Sword Bible doesn't have, and the free sources are wonderful for that. Let's see if we have English, and then let's see commentary. Geneva. I really don't use commentaries much. It's really seldom that I actually do use them. But if anything, I would be interested in the Geneva Bible translations, because these are the Protestants, in regards to the Geneva Bible and all that, to see what they thought, in regards of, so. But again, weirdly, it is not found in My Sword Bible. Maybe I should write to them about it. I have thought about writing, but I haven't really gotten into that, because that would be nice. It would actually just be nice to just have one application to do everything, but that's not the case. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 actually in regards to Bible apps. Then I have some different other things, a Bible history game where you need to put the cards in the right. It's just to help, to if I'm going to play something, then at least be something that one can learn something from, right? That's So the light. Let's go back to the light. Oh no. We actually was going into Matthew 7. So here we actually have raving wolves, and you can go into it, and it's I guess it's set in regards of the so-called biblical method of method. What is it called? Method. Oh, I can't even say that word. Method. Apparently, at the moment, I can't say that word. The method. In regards to the biblical method, instead of the the nowadays Greek pronunciation and all that. But anyway. Oh, we're actually only running. I should probably put it up to 4. So let's see here. And also, it's interesting that Jesus says, or Yeshua says, every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Now, in regards to the fire, I think that might actually go, in regards to the other parable, in regards to the sheep and the goats. And actually, it's interesting because goats are actually a clean animal. So it's interesting that he would use sheep and goats. But of course, if they look if they look Christians, if they both are proclaimed Christians, or that of course is interesting. And of course, I think he says that the goats, he says he judges in regards of, in regards to these goats to point them to the lake of fire. So that might be in regards of and cast into the fire, wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. Okay, so anyway, so we don't have anything to do with Mohammedans here, because Mohammedans are just clear stinking wolf, They're not really any problem, They should be. It should be easy for a Christian to know that Muhammad was a false prophet, It shouldn't be difficult, The Mohammedans are rejecting that Jesus is the Son of God. Oh, ding, ding, ding! We already have a problem, Houston, So anyway, it's not really them that he's talking about. He's talking about wolves in sheep clothing, He's warning about wolves in sheep clothing that, if possible, could deceive the elect. And Muhammad couldn't, it's just a plain stinking wolf. Anyway, so many will say to me that that we have the iniquity. So down here, it's anomia. So anomia is, I think nomia is in regards of law, and anomia is without law. And you have other definitions as well. If you search the condition of without law, that seems to be pretty good. So anomia is the condition of being without law, or something like that. Contempt and violation of law, iniquity, wickedness, lawlessness, pretty much. But if you actually see nomia, I think it's nomia in regards to the Greek. How do I actually find that word in regard? Oh, I can search maybe. I haven't used this application for some time, and you have to, I'm a full glass, so every time I fill something in the glass, I forget something else. It's terrible. So anyway, so if you just search on law, and we'll just search the New Testament, because that's the English. Greek. Sorry, my mistake. I do make mistakes, sometimes on these videos where afterwards, if I look at them and I'm like, oh my, I said something wrong. I was, that was not what I meant. Anyway, let's get to the word here. Oh, nomos and nomi. It's not exactly the same. Oh, yeah, nomos. Let's see. I don't know enough Greek but nomos. That would be in regards of law. So it's at least it seems to be very close. What was it called? Anomos and let's see if we can find the other one. Let's go back and find iniquity. That was anomia. Anomos, anomia. Sounds kind of familiar in any case. But anyway, I don't know enough Greek to actually, but yeah, what do you go here? No. Let's go forward. No, it's not there. There we go. Okay. Nomos. So nomos is in regards of law, and the other one is without law. So what is the problem of Jesus here? It seems the problem of Jesus is in regards of people, that are pretty much without the law, that are breakers of the law. And who could that be? Who could that possibly be? We have the prophecy in the book of Daniel that says that he thinks to change times and laws. I think it's Daniel 7, actually. I do wonder, maybe we could just try this program. Maybe you can open another window here. Let's see. add a tab, and then I don't know how this works, but anyway, I guess Danny. Apparently, you need to. You cannot just put small. You need to have the exact thing apparently. So again, the King James version. So just be aware of that. Not saying the King James version is bad at all. I'm just saying that there are some issues as any other translation and all that. So, but yeah. Where is it in regards of the thinking to change? That's the little horn. Where's the little horn? So until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Well, that's the future. Okay, here we go. I beheld, and the horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. Who would that be? Well, that's Rome in regards of actually, it's the beast, the beast of the number 666. But you have, in the book of Revelation, you have the whore riding all the 7 heads of the beast, of the Roman beast. So as far as I can see, she must be there from the very beginning. And it seems to be confirmed by history. But, I still need to dig more into it. But in regards to Bible prophecy, and she's sitting on all the 7 heads. And every single head is a government type of the Roman Empire. Now, the 8 is one of the 7. And I think it's actually the 6th head that is the 8. So that's the Roman Caesar. And who's the Roman Caesar in our days? Well, the Pope. The so-called Pope. The papacy is the Caesar in our days. That's the Roman Emperor. And then also the high pagan priest and all that. Anyway, see here. Okay, and give him dominion and glory and... Okay, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days, that would be God. Now the Son of Man, of course, is God as well. And I think actually it's pointed to Jesus on the other place. So that's one of the things where you have 2 entities. Yes, you have one God, that is Jehovah, but again, plurality as well. It's like when the God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, He's using plural terms like 3 times, let's see, and usually it's translated like, and God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness. So you have 3 terms of plurality, right? Yet, they translate God as singular, but actually in the Hebrew it's Elohim, and Elohim is plural. So it could actually be translated as the gods, plural, said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, which would of course fit more in regards to the plurality where he's speaking, right? Anyway, because the Father, and actually, if you actually look in history in regards of, Christians and all that, they had this view that the Father was speaking to the Son. I think you can find that multiple times in regards of, creating the world and so forward. So, so this was again, you have the plurality in this, but again, God being one, yet he's, Jesus said, that me and my Father are one. The Jews would have picked up on that, at the instant. I think it's just us that don't pick up on it. But the thing is, the Shema Yisrael, Yehovah Eloheinu, Yehovah Echad is, listen, Israel. Shema Yisrael, Yehovah, our gods, Yehovah, are one. I guess in regards to the grammar of the English, you will have to use, if it's plural, you have to have are. But anyway, the thing is, Shema Yisrael, Yehovah Eloheinu. Eloheinu is our gods, plural. Of course, they don't translate it as that, but you have plurality. And there was some issues where I was a Jew or something like that tried to, as I understand it, tried to change that to, instead of Echad, he Echid or something like that. I don't know, whatever. I can't remember the details on that. Of course, there has always been a conflict in regards of, and some say this and some say, well, let's just keep to the Bible, right? So, isn't it incredible that we have Like, how old was this book? Was it 2,500 or 2,550 years or something like that? The book of Daniel. And then we have the book of Revelation that is nearly 2,000 years. And it's talking about things that is happening in our days, you know. I think that's pretty incredible. Maybe someone actually knew the beginning from the end, you know, and gave it to the prophets. Anyway, I see here. And that was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. And of course, that couldn't be Rome, because Rome is going to be destroyed. So that's the kingdom of the Messiah. So we are still expecting Yeshua to return. And set up his kingdom here on earth for 1,000 years. Now, of course, the Catholics would not, would reject that doctrine, but we know that we have Christians already, in the, very early on believing this, and yet very early on this doctrine was attacked. But if you look at the book of Revelation, 1,000 years, you have the first resurrection, you have 1,000 years, and then the second resurrection. Now, of course, the Roman papists will do whatever, they will twist things totally out of hand. But we have had defenders of this doctrine, but it's like, it has been smeared as a Jewish fable or Jewish, was like a heresy or Jewish, doctrine and whatever, If it's Jewish, apparently it's bad, that's the thing, Judaism, this and that. You are just Judaizing, that's, whatever, Jewish traditions or Jewish festivals and all that, then it's bad. Well, the festivals actually written in the Bible, the Torah, the law of God. And there was, it's just, they have their own pagan traditions and we're still keeping these pagan traditions. So Daniel, was grieved in my, and actually, if I'm a little way off, I'm on a lot of antifungals at the moment. Natural antifungals, but my head is a little, I guess, lightheaded in some sense, or obstructed or whatever, But anyway, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them. And by the way, if in regards of visions and all that, Satan can do visions as well. In regards of seeing stuff and all that, just be careful in regards of just because you see something. Satan can do. I don't know if one would call them miracles. I guess it would probably be. If it's Satan doing it, might be, I guess, magic or something. I'm not sure what the word, but Satan can do things as well. He can do spiritual things as well. And when people, end up becoming Roman Catholics because they, witness some spiritual stuff and all that, you really have to test these things, because if you want to experience spiritual things, you can just go into the occult. And, but that doesn't mean it's from God, because it's you're going to Satan to try to get knowledge or whatever you want to call it. They're trying to figure out. At least that was my goal in any case. Trying to figure out what was. But I was getting in contact with these demons instead of, just stupid. Just. But again, I've seen or experienced spiritual things. And also have contact with demons and all that. But, that doesn't mean it's from God. It's from Satan, I was not, And these, the entities that I had contact with, these demons, they come in many disguises. But in any case, they are, as far as my experience goes, they are very, very, very clever deceivers. So, just because you haven't had any spiritual thing, experience or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's not there. You have a huge amount of people having contact with demons. Now, they might, not know that these are demons because they come in many disguises, But yeah, you really have to test things, and not fall into these, you have to discern, And Satan is very slick, and we should really not underestimate Satan. And apparently Christians, it seems a lot of professed Christians are sadly just, it's spiritual, it must be from God, No, not necessarily. So it's very sad to see. Anyway, let's see here. Where's the little horn? But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess. Maybe it's actually before the we're told here, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints. Well, the saints are those keeping, guarding, protecting the commandments of Jehovah and have the testimony of Yeshua HaMashiach, or Yeshua the Anointed, the Christ, and prevailed against them. Okay, yep. So who would that be? Well, that's pretty much the papacy, who has prevailed against the saints, who has actually attacked and who had fought to change. Let's see if we can find in regards of thinking to change times and laws. Until the Ancient of Days came. I think that is a phrase for Jesus here. Now we have the Father, where Jesus comes to the Father, but Jesus is also him, or Yeshua himself is also the Ancient of Days. So until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. And that's still future. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth. So, which is the fourth kingdom? Well, the fourth beast, the fourth kingdom. Well, what is the fourth beast? Well, we have the Babylonian, we have the Medo-Persians, we have the Greeks. What came after the Greeks? You can just look at any history book, and you should be able to figure out who came after the Greeks. Well, that was Rome, wasn't it? So what nature is the fourth beast? Well, it's Roman. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, we have a winner. Anyway, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms. Now, in regards of being diverse, I'm still looking into these things, but as I understand it, the other kingdoms were kingdoms. They had a king, or they had, I think Medo-Persia might actually have had two kings, I need to do some digging in that, but it was kingship. But in regards of Roman, the Roman kingdom starts as a kingdom, yet it doesn't stop there. It becomes different other kingdoms over time. And I think that's the 7 different heads. Now, the Pontifex Maximus, as I understand it, was already there from the beginning of the kingdom. Wikipedia says that the second king, gave the instructions for the high pagan priest, the Pontifex Maximus, or the bridge builder and whatever, pagan bridge builder. Just keep away from him. He has no authority over Christians. He might think he has, but that's the Antichrist. People don't run back to that guy. Don't run back to that office. That's just. Anyway, then he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth. So this kingdom shall devour the whole earth, who, is the Roman kingdom devouring the whole earth? In regards to the New World Order, which is actually just the Old World Order, which is actually just poop doom, as I call it. I think poop doom is a pretty good word, That will be the papacy sitting as ruler of the entire world. And that's forming as we, there's a lot of things going on in our days. It's really, it's really moving quickly, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High. Oh. Well, I think we have a winner in regards to the papacy, And shall wear out the saints of the Most High. Well, I think the papacy is a pretty good winner on that as well. And think to change times and laws. Oh, ding, ding, ding. The papacy once again wins the prize. And they shall be given into his hand unto a time and a times and the dividing of times. Of time. As I understand it, some believe that it's actually years in regards of 1,260 years or something like that, I think it was. it might actually be a double prophecy in regards of the future as well, in regards of days, literal days, and so you might actually have a period of years and then maybe a period of days. Anyway, I'm still doing, I might be totally wrong. I'm still doing research, and there's a lot of things that I haven't, as what you would say, totally clicked into place. So anyway, so we have someone who wears out the saints. Well, that's the papacy, the saints of the Most High. And again, the saints, according to the book of Revelation, are those, those that keep the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus, So anyway, that, as I see it, that would be, keeping, guarding, protecting, in regards of some Hebrew understanding as well, of the law of Jehovah, which is, in regards to the festivals, for example, the Sabbath, the food laws and so forward. The closer we can get, the better, I think. Satan pulls in one direction and we should pull in the other direction. Satan wants he wants to take away every truth from us. And we should just pull in the other direction, because don't we want truth? See all these pagan traditions of Christ Mass, Easter, Halloween, Satan Claus, Easter laying rabbits, things, Tooth Fairy, and gnomes and whatever. What is it we are teaching our children? This is stupidity. And of course, Christ Mass, for example. What is shown on the television on Christ Mass? Which is in regards of the Mass of Christ, which is pretty much is an abomination, because they think to sacrifice Jesus all over again. Well, they believe he's a cookie, which of course is also totally outrageous. But, and by the way, now I'm accursed by this wicked system, because they have huge amount of curses put on people that don't believe as they do, by the way. So, it's not a very loving system, just read some of the Council of Trent things and all that. Anyway, you can find a lot of curses. Keith Green actually also have some pretty nice. He was a Jew that became Christian, but he wrote the Catholic Chronicles. That's. They're pretty interesting as well, and he was also pretty much. Anyway, so you can they're out there on the internet. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And in regards to changing times and laws, is in regards of God's law. So he only think to change times and laws. The question is, if he, just think about this. If he thinks to change times and laws, do you still think that the law of Jehovah is then still valid? Well, the law of God must be valid if the Antichrist just thinks to change times and laws, right? So the law of God is still standing and still in effect. Anyway, and they shall be given into his hand until the time and the times and the dividing of time. Again, I'm still somewhat uncertain, because there is the great tribulation in the future and all that, and which who knows, it might actually be closer than we are actually, it might actually be going pretty quickly. But anyway, a lot of things, again, is going very quickly. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. So observe and obey who? Well, observe and obey Jesus Christ, or Yeshua, the Anointed, who shall rule the nations of the world from Jerusalem for 1,000 years. So. So that's a future thing. It might actually not be that far from the horizon in some sense. Again, things are going very, very quickly in our days. So Anyway, hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. And of course, the best thing for, if you don't know much about these things, just read the book of Daniel and, study a little in regards of, begin to open it up, little by little and here and there, and it will begin to grow. So, and you will begin to understand, the things and all that. Let the Bible open up, as a flower, little by little, and smell the wonderful, what is it called? Scent of it, when you begin to open it more and more up. So this is one, these are some of the things in regards to the Antichrist and all that. If you look at the book of Revelation, and you get information from both books, and actually overall the Bible, you get, just be careful of Paulus, Roman Pharisee Paulus. Again, Jesus, what did Jesus warn us about? Wolves in sheep clothing that could, if possible, deceive the elect. Now, what is, we can go to second, let's see if I can remember second. Is it Timothy or something? I'm not sure in regards of English. Maybe it's like Timothy. I'm actually not sure how to write that in this Bible application. Oh, well, let's just go back to my old one that I know that I could. I think that would be Timothy. Yeah, already it's, it's very nice how it actually just figure out what. But anyway, all Asia already in the first century left Paul. This is from Paul himself in one of his last letters, if not the last letter of his. This thou knowest, that all they which are in Asia, now Asia is nowadays Turkey, actually West Turkey, and nowadays West Turkey. That's the same place where Jesus or Yeshua is actually making John the Apostle write to 7 congregations. So, and actually in regards to the book of Revelation, some put it in like later than probably, we have an Aramaic source which says that it might actually have been written down, close to the event in regards of Paulus actually. Some believe that some put it in more in the future to try to distance it away from Paulus. Because if it's actually closer to the event of Paulus, there might be some things actually that it shows. Actually, I think it shows it anyway, but it would be if this book of Revelation is actually closer to the event of Paulus and that they reject him and so forward, then if you go to the book of Revelation and sees there's some so-called apostles that was tested and they found them to be liars. Now, what would that be? Well, that would be wolves in sheep clothing, wouldn't that? And that was what Jesus warned us about, right? And he warned us about the Pharisee leaven, right? And we know in regards to the Rome, that's the Roman horn and so forward. So anyway, so I reading the letters of Paulus, I'm very, very careful. And by the way, some of the doctrines that Paulus or Shaul is actually promoting is some of the things that Jesus is actually rebuking the congregations in Asia Minor, which is the same place that actually, where Paul says they rejected him. This thou knowest, that all they which are in Asia be turned away from me, of whom are Phygelus and Hermogenes, or something like that. Anyway, so according to Paul, writing to was it Timothy? Timothy. They turned away from him. Now, why would Asia Minor, that has 2 apostles running around, not taking Paul into account? Of course, if we take Paul into account, that would be 3. But anyway, 2 apostles, that would be John the Apostle and Philip the Apostle. That's 2 of the apostles that walked, talked, and ate with Jesus Christ, or Yeshua. Paul never did that, Paul just saw something in the desert and all that, and then, we have 4 stories of that, and there seems to be some issues with that as well. Anyway, we have 3 of those accounts in the book of Revelation and 1 in the book of Galatians. Anyway, and he's belittling the real apostles and all that. He's just, reading and beginning to get the pieces to actually see who seems to be the enemies of Paulus. Seems like actually to be the real disciples. Anyway, but one of the doctrines that Paul, a lot of Christians believe that they can eat anything and everything. Well, why? Well, because of Paul. Well, what does Jesus say about it? Well, he says no go. What does the council in Jerusalem says? Oh, no go. So if Paul says something that is totally against what they say at the council in Jerusalem, and that Jesus, Yeshua is rebuking the congregations in Asia Minor, there seems to be someone actually having gone around promoting this doctrine, it seems. But Yeshua is, rebuking, 2 of the times he's pretty clear in regards of it to 2 of the congregations. And then he refers, and isn't it funny, because people don't think that, people don't think we need to read the so-called Old Testament anymore, or actually the scriptures, the law and the prophets. Isn't it funny that Jesus would use stories from the law and the prophets and all that? To try to get his message over. Well, if he didn't think we would read the scriptures anymore, why would he, use the scriptures to get an understanding over to us, it just seems, it's just a crazy daisy thing. Anyway, of course, the devil wants us to get away from the Bible and the scriptures. And why? Well, because if we actually know what is in the Bible, well, he has a lot harder to actually deceive us, Like, for example, the first couple of pages in the Bible, how many people believe in evolution? Well, evolution is not biblical. Evolution is a pagan satanic lie. And you can actually follow it back to to India, long before Darwin made it popular in the West. This is a pagan satanic doctrine that they have mixed into real science. They're pretty much just taking it over on so many fronts. A Big Bang and all that, and that we actually are coming from apes and all that is bullshit. It's utter bullshit. The Bible says that we are made in the image of the gods. Let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and so forward. That's what we are made, We didn't come from the apes, okay? And of course, in regards to the Big Bang and all that, that's bullshit as well. In regards of birds coming from dinosaurs, bullshit. Because, birds were, came about before the animals on the land, anyway. So, again, in regards of they think the sun came before the earth and all that, that's bullshit as well. The earth was created first. The earth was already there, and then first on the 4th day, the sun and the moon are created. And the stars, by the way, as well. So, the sun and the moon and the stars, yeah. So, this thou knowest, that all they that which are in Asia be turned away from me, of whom are fickle. This is Paul himself writing. This is Paul's letters. Then you go to the book of Revelation, and there you see in regards of Ephesus, for example. So who was in Ephesus? Well, Paul was in Ephesus, right? Wasn't Paul in Ephesus? Yeah, he was in Ephesus. 2 or 3 years teaching. Anyway, that's just, coincidence after coincidence when you begin to research these things. And then, of course, you look to the Nazarenes and the Ebionites and all that, and how they looked at Paul and all that. And it doesn't seem like it's a positive thing either, So, but a lot of things seems to have been censored. And I guess that's not a surprise, looking at how Satan still gets people to censor things in our days. So anyway, let's get back to the thing. So every time, it's not to say that you cannot learn anything from Paul's letters. You just have to be, be aware. Because again, in regards of a wolf in sheep clothing, a wolf in sheep clothing sounds like and Satan has a way of, if he, Satan can't just lie all the time. He has to, look like the real thing, right? To deceive you. And to think that, they're Christians, According to the Book of Revelation, the congregation in Ephesus had to test him. So, anyway, let's see here. Where did we go? There we go. So, let's get back to Matthew. I'm not entirely sure about this program. I just wanted to try it out. I think I'll keep to the other one, but as honest, I think it's open source and it's not bad. It looks pretty. The color. It's a dark background. It seems, and tabs and all that. Not in. It seems pretty. And there's apparently a log file. I guess one can close the. One can close the window or something like that. Remove the tab. So if one doesn't, I guess one can just open a window here, add tab, and search logs, for example. Maybe I need to put it in big capital letters. No, that didn't work. Logs. No, that didn't work either. I'm not entirely sure how this application, because you need to apparently be pretty precise on some of the things to make it work. 2 seconds, I'll just need a pencil here. Works pretty good. You're sitting, it's just much easier with a pencil, so instead of the fingers. So, let's see, judge not that ye be not judged, for with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and with what measure you meet, it shall be measured to you. Again, I have to reread some of the words of Yeshua. I should probably, start again and read it from beginning, and because I might be just getting some of the things. Yeah, I probably are getting some of the things. We're disciples. We're growing and so forward. So there's a lot of things that needs to become better and so forth. But I'm thinking in regards to judging and all that. Am I not allowed to expose the Antichrist? And the problem is, that's the thing with this. I'm meditating on this in regards of. Apparently the connection is poor. Hopefully it will just work out. I don't know why it actually is giving me these warnings, because like 4G, it should be enough. But the network status is poor. Please ensure that the connection is strong or try to reconnect. I think it's looks pretty strong. Sadly, this program, I think they killed the program. I guess it's typical, You have a good program and the programmers just kills it, It seems to so many times, things are just getting killed. So anyway, judge not that ye be not. I wonder what the things over here is for. It's like 14, 4, 5, 2, 8. I'm not sure what that is about. So the thing is, there's no one, so few, well, not no one, but there's very few that actually warns the people in regards to the Antichrist in these days. And actually, you see the so-called Protestants, well, I don't know what to call them, because the Protestants knew who they protested against. I was like, how many Protestants actually know who they protest? Well, sadly, very few, it seems. I'm somewhat rough in some of my writings in regards to this, because no one is speaking up about it, and someone very few speak up about it, and I'm like, if we know who the Antichrist is, we have to tell the people who the Antichrist is, because this was something that every Protestant knew in the past, and now the Protestants that should know don't know and are totally ignorant about it, and now running back under the wings of the triune tyrant, the Roman emperor and all that. And I'm like, what is going on? So I do use some, I guess after reading Luther in regards of Against the Roman Papacy and Institution of the Devil, it actually put me a little in that direction of being a little more rough. I don't know if that was positive or negative, but it did put me in the direction of being somewhat more rough in my wording. Yeah, I guess a little more flavor to it as well, in some sense. But anyway, Luther was very harsh in his words when you read it, yet I'd rather have a guy like Luther telling me who the Antichrist is than these people that are just singing love songs to the Antichrist and deceiving us and all that. So now Luther wasn't perfect and all that. He had his own issues here and there. So, but anyway, yeah. It really kicked it, in regards of people reading the Bible and finding out who the Antichrist was and all that. And of course, that would probably be the case, or the reason why this wicked system of Rome didn't want the Christians to read the Bible. Because if they read the Bible, they would figure out that this is not Christianity. This Roman Catholicism, this Romanism, this utter bullshit, It's nothing to do with the Bible. Anyway, so they, persecuted those that tried to, get the Bibles in the tongues of the people. Anyway, let's see. Why beholdest thou the moth that is in thy brother's eye, but consider not the beam that is in thy own eye? And I'm thinking maybe I have, problems of that as well. Maybe I'm too... I don't know. Maybe it's just no one is talking about this, and I don't really care about in regards of if I'm unpopular or speaking in regards to the Antichrist. That's I don't care in regards of that. If it's the truth, it's the truth, and thereby will stand on it. But I'm a little concerned of actually if I'm the problem is if we're not going to warn anybody about it. Who's out there warning people about the Antichrist? Well, there are some, but it seems to be a dying corpse nearly, This is something that all the Protestants just knew by nature. They just knew it. They grew up with this, They read their Bibles, they knew their history, they were taught real history and all that. And it's so much, wicked bullshit in this world. And I'm tired of it, I'm just tired of these things, and we can see in what direction it goes, and it's not good. The people are going under the wings of the high pagan priest. Anyway, this ecumenical bullshit thing, anyway. Matthew 7:4, how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mud out of thine eye, and behold, the beam is in thy own eye, Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the moth of thy brother's eye. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine. Now dogs and swine are both unclean animals. So, at least they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. And I guess you will get some experience in regards to that. When you begin to stand for the truth and all that, and you will see how some will take your pearls and, well, pretty much just puke all over them. And I guess, turn again and rend you in some sense. Attack you, instead of, you have these wonderful pearls and all that, and you put in, and they would, anyway, it's just very sad. I guess it might also be in regards of people killing you for, I don't know. But we have to stand for the truth, right? That's, but when for example, when you're talking to non-believers and you give them all these pearls that you feel like are really, you have been using time on studying the Bible and the scriptures and all that, and you found found these, some of things out, and it's just, you say, oh, this is wonderful and all that, and then you give them to a non-believer, and just totally destroy, totally pukes all over it, it's sad. So ask and it shall be given you, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. Or what man is there of you whom if his son ask bread will give him a stone? Or if he ask a fish will he give him a serpent? If ye then being evil, so that's us, we being evil, I guess mankind is evil, we are committing evil deeds on so many levels. It's so sad. But if ye then being evil know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? I remember in regards to Jesus saying, to the guy that said, "Good master," and he said, "Who is good but God?" Now, of course, it's a rhetorical question, or what is it called? And he's not saying that he isn't God. He's just asking. I think in regards to taking it into context, I think it's pretty clear that Jesus is God. I think it's all over pretty much. But he's asking a question. Why are you calling me good? Because there's only God is good. It's like, okay. I think it's more like what do you call it? Is it called a rhetorical question or something like that? Why are you calling me good? None is good but God. Well, of course, Jesus was God. Anyway, if ye then being evil know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? Did you hear what Jesus say? Your Father is not, he's in heaven. He's not in Rome, okay? The so-called Holy Father in Rome and all that. Just total blasphemy. Anyway, Satan wants to be like God. So if Jesus have 3 crowns or Yeshua have 3 crowns, he wants 3 crowns. So, and if you want to see those 3 crowns, you can just see the Antichrist being crowned with the tiara, or whatever it's called. It's 3 crowns. And he sets himself up as the ruler of the entire world. Oh well, anyway. Both in temporal, civil, political power and spiritual power. So, anyway, therefore all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them, for this is the law and the prophets. And I was thinking, okay, so if I was a Roman papist, or Roman poopist, as I usually call it, if I was a Roman poopist and or Mohammedan, what would I have loved others to do? Well, what would, in regards of setting me in that position, if I'm in error and that I'm a Roman poopist or a Mohammedan, what would I really have, even if I didn't really see it that way at that point, but what would I have, that someone would actually have told me the truth? That's do ye even so to them, for this is the law and the prophets. I want the Roman Catholics and the Mohammedans to tell me the truth, and of course, that I also want to tell them the truth. Of course, in regards of getting truth from the Roman Catholics and the Mohammedans is, as or many others actually, but Romanism and Mohammedanism is like 2 sides of the same coin. So it's just you get some of the same tricks used by both of them in regards to deception and lying and so forward, and I guess speaking out through both sides of their mouth. But of course, I would have loved people to tell me the truth. If I was a Roman Catholic, I would have loved, people to tell me the truth so I can get away from my error, and get out of it, and become a disciple of Christ and not of the Antichrist. Any case, or in regards of a false prophet like Muhammad and all that. So therefore, things whatever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them, for this is the law and the prophets. And the law of the prophets, what is that? The so-called Old Testament. And I was thinking as well in regards to some of the prophets of old, and we also told to take them as what do you call it? To look to how they, and they told the truth. Now they were, some of them was pretty harsh in their words, right? But they told the truth, didn't they? So, and this is the law and the prophets. So therefore all things, whatever ye would that men should do to you in regards to telling the truth, do ye even so to them. Yeah, well, I would love the people to tell me the truth. So I should also do that to them, right? For this is the law and the prophets. I don't know. I might be totally, but again, if no one is warning, in regards of this cult, actually, in regards of the cult of the Mohammedans and the cult of the Roman Catholics, who is going to warn the people, Martin Luther created this wonderful song, this children's song, where they have censored the second line in regards of the papacy and the Mohammedans. Let's see if I can remember. Und stier des Papst und Türken Mord in German, Anyway, but they removed that sentence. It's just disgusting how they've tried to, remove the truth. So enter ye in the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life. And of course there's two ways, right? There's the broad way that leads to destruction, and then there's the narrow way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. And then he goes, be aware of false prophets. And he also gives characteristics of these other places in regards of wolves in sheep clothing and all that. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep clothing. There we have it. So be aware of false prophets which come to you in sheep clothing. And we also, in regards to the so-called Old Testament, we see false prophets where they say they speak for God and all that, but they really don't. So beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep clothing. So apparently sheep clothing, that's, they look like Christians. They might actually proclaim themselves Christians. Oh yeah, do we have something? Oh, Roman Catholicism. Oh yeah. But inwardly they are ravening wolves. And how shall we know them? Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? So even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. Now, is Roman Catholicism a good tree or a corrupt tree? I think it's rotten to the very core. So, anyway. And a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. So what do we see here? We see that those that are bad trees, giving bad fruit, is the ones that are cast into the fire. In regards to the sheep and a goat, I think, there's something in regards to that. I think the goats are sent to the, we can take that parable afterwards or something like that. I think it's the goats that is sent to the lake of fire, where he talks about having been prepared for the angels or something like that, the fallen angels or something like that. It's just, Anyway. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. Oh, wait. So whereby by their fruits ye shall know them. That was one, okay. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. So what is the will of the Father? Well, I guess it must be, fixing some good fruits and not bad fruits. And again, if you look in regards to Matthew 7:23, he's talking about those, those that are bad fruits are those that work iniquity, lawlessness. So I do wonder in regards of what would be the will of my Father, would be what is like, I think John is talking about the love of God is to do the will of to do the commandments or something. That was something. Let's see. Let's try to go. First John. Let's see if I can find the will of. Let's see the will of fist and turn. The love of God is, I think it's the love of God is to do His commandments, and His commandments are not, and hereby we do know that we know Him if we keep His commandments. That's again the commandment. But anyway, I think there's something in regards of not grievous to keep His commandments someplace. And he that keepeth His commandments dwelleth in Him, and He in him, and He. Oops, let's go to back. I need to fix that at some point. And he that keepeth His commandments dwelleth in Him, and he in him, and hereby we know that He abideth in us by the Spirit which He hath given us. And this is His commandment, that we should believe on the name of His Son, Jesus Christ, and love one another as He gave us commandment. Keep His commandment, beloved, if you are. There was something in regards of that His commandments are not grievous or something like that. He says, little children, keep yourself from idols. Yeah, well, tell that to the Roman Catholics. Or Universalists, you know. Here we go. For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not grievous. Now, if you know a little of history and all that, as far as I can see, in Asia Minor, they actually kept the festivals of God. In regards of Passover, we have a lot of information. As far as I know, that's the thing that we have most information on. I might be wrong in regards of, there's still a lot of things to dig forward and all that. But we have Polycarp. Polycarp, in the beginning of the 2nd century, goes to Rome to try to correct them in regards of Passover. Now they don't really get so we already see, and Polycarp is from Asia Minor, if I as far as I remember. So already there we see that he goes to Rome to try to correct them early on in regards of Passover according to the Bible. Then we see Bishop Victor in the later 2nd century writing to Asia Minor, trying to make them keep Easter instead of Passover, because Rome still continues to do the, falsehood. And we have the letter back to Bishop Victor, which is a wonderful letter, because they pretty much just reject what he's. And then apparently he goes into a spin or maniac. He wants to excommunicate them, like he has the authority to do that. Apparently, whatever. So when and in 325, Rome in some sense wins out, at least in regards to the Council of Nicaea. It's like I read in regards to, they were just happy. Now we are all in agreement to do do it according to the traditions of Rome. Oh, we are all now in agreement to do it in error. Yeah, that sounds like a very stupid thing. Anyway, of course, not all actually agreed to this, because there was a lot of persecution apparently in the 4th century. Clearly there were still people keeping these traditions, or actually, these commanded, in the Bible and all that, because like a person like Chrysostom is attacking those that keep to the Jewish festivals that is commanded in the Bible, in the Torah. Funny enough, it's the same guy that actually begins to promote Christ Mass in the 4th century. Yeah, it's just incredible. Yeah. And Christ Mass has nothing to do with the Bible. Anyway, that's again Roman tradition. He actually talks about, but in Rome they knew when Jesus was born and all that. So he goes on to promote this. So anyway, he thinks to change times and laws and all that. Anyway, so also from a historical point of, it looks like they actually kept to the commandments of God. And again, Rome does her prophetic job in some sense of doing what is prophesied. It's not a surprise. So yeah. Anyway, let's go back to the other one. So many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, haven't we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you, depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Jesus is also talking about whosoever breaks just the smallest commandment, I can't remember if it's like before that or something like that, where he talks about, until heaven and earth passes away, not one jot or tittle pass away from the law. Well, do you still see the heaven outside and the earth? Oh, me too. I see it as well. I think it's actually Matthew 5 or something like that. Let's see if we can find it. And also, ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost his savor, something like that, wherewith shall it be salted? Is henceforth good for nothing, but be cast out and be trodden under foot of men. Anyway, where's in regards of... okay, here we go. Matthew 5:17. He says, think not that I am come to destroy the law. Oh, he's not come. And the law, all the prophets. What is the law of the prophets? That is pretty much the Old Testament, but what we call the Old Testament. I'm actually not sure when that actually came about, when we began to do that, if that was in regards to the Reformation or something like that. I know Melito used it in the 2nd century, but it seems like more like a thing of, it didn't seem like it was a thing they actually usually used, He also used, the law and the prophets and all that. And what does Jesus say? Or Yeshua, I'm not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Well, did Jesus or Yeshua fulfill, things of the law and the prophets? Yeah. Did he fulfill everything? No. There's still prophecies in the so-called Old Testament that is yet to be fulfilled, okay? And also we see in regards to the book of Revelation where it talks about, then everything is fulfilled at that point. And that's still future. So everything has not been fulfilled. Of course, people will try to twist this and say, oh yeah, Jesus fulfilled, and thereby we don't need to keep the law anymore. Oh, that seems pretty deceptive. That seems pretty satanic, actually, and try to get us away from the law. What, the very thing that we can actually stand against Satan by, know that it's not evolution, it's creation, in regards to the Bible, for example. That's just one of them. Know in regards to the body, soul, and spirit and all that, how that works out according to the Bible. Know in regards of where we are going after we die, in regards of going to the realm of the dead and so forward, and not going directly to heaven. At least I can see that. But I know a lot of Christians do believe that they're going directly to heaven, but why would Jesus come back and resurrect us? And historically, it doesn't seem to fit either. We are awaiting the resurrection, either the first resurrection or the second resurrection. And where did Jesus go? Did Jesus go to heaven when he died? No. Jesus went into the earth. He went, he was 3 days and 3 nights, in the grave, and he was in Sheol or Hades 3 days and 3 nights. So anyway, so verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. And in regards of everything has not been fulfilled. There are still prophecies in the so-called Old Testament about future things. So everything has not been fulfilled, So, and heaven and earth is, by the way, still out there. But anyway, if you go to the book of Revelation, there's a place where it talks about then everything is fulfilled at that point. I have to reread Revelation at some point again, but in regards to where that is. But there's a place in the book of Revelation where it talks about then all the Yeah, I can't remember where it is. But anyway, Book of Revelation someplace. So he goes on, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. You know, the kingdom of heaven, in regards to the kingdom, when we are praying, right? We are asking the kingdom of heaven to come to this earth, right? You know, we're not asking for us to go to heaven. We are asking the kingdom of God or the kingdom of heaven to come to this earth. But anyway, that's also in the book of Matthew. By the way, the book of Matthew was the primary book used by the Nazarenes. And of course, the Nazarenes are the first Christians. So it took some time until they actually began to call them, put them in a category of heretics, because they couldn't really, I think they couldn't do it, and, because they knew the Nazarenes was not heretics, because the Nazarenes believed, as the Christians, that Jesus was God, and that he was the Son of God, and that he was born by a virgin. So, but of course, then we have the medicine chest and all that in regards to the Nazarenes and the Ebionites. Now, the Ebionites, as far as I understand it, is a group that comes out from the Nazarenes probably after 70 AD. We have some material that is said to come from them, and actually that information might actually go back to the Nazarenes. So sometimes when you go from one group, out from a group, you sometimes take things with you. It might actually have been pretty nice if that maybe had been more groups actually going out, because we might have had more information. I don't know. But anyway, we have the Nazarenes and we have the Ebionites, and those are the two Jewish groups that you see throughout history. And you can distinguish these two groups in regards of the Ebionites did not believe that Jesus was God. They believed that he was born, what's it called, born, like anyone else in regards of. So they didn't believe in the virgin birth and all that, and they didn't believe he was God either. So you can pretty much, when you're reading things, you can see if they talk about Jewish believers and all that, if sometimes they give you some point in regards of doctrines and all that, and then you can, anyway. So that's the two groups of anyway. And again, we have lost a lot of things in regards of information from the past, and very sad, because I would have loved to dig more into the Nazarene material, because there must have been more than we have. And also in regards of Asia Minor, which I know is a place that had a lot of light. And, we have the Apostle John and the Apostle Philip in the area, and probably a lot of other disciples in that area. It seems to me like 200 years where they were the great place of light in the world. So this is a very important place, but it seems we have lost a lot of information, sadly. So anyway, let's see here. Like, for example, a guy like Melito from the 2nd century, which, I think it would have been so utterly awesome to have his material. And we know he wrote books and all that, and I've seen where, where said, who hasn't read, the books of Melito in regards to Jesus being God and all that. I was like, well, I don't, I haven't. So Melito's material seemed to have been pretty popular. Well, not in regards of the people, in regards of Rome and all that. Apparently they didn't really like him so much. But I think he had too much light for them. I think he had a really strong light, and thereby it seems Rome had, his books was done away pretty much. So that's very sad. So we really only have small snippets here and there in regards of Melito, but some of it is just it's just so good. Anyway, he really understood some things, that's for sure, and that's the sad thing that we actually also wrote in regards to the Book of Revelation, Could you think about having a book from the 2nd century from Asia Minor, the area that, John was around and all that, actually, speaking on the book of Revelation from a 2nd century perspective? Oh, I really would have liked to see that. But we have a list of his books because one of the guys that was in regards to Romanism, I guess, fixed the list. But apparently they don't quote much from him, apparently. It seems like they didn't like him very much. So anyway, so again, the good eatable weed was to grow up with the bad poisonous thornail. So again, Jesus, every single of these parables, if you begin to, put them together and all, it's just wonderful. So anyway, so it says, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Of course, Jesus has been talking about things before this, I think, in regards of who is, in regards to do, how to do the things and all that. For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause, be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, and again, I think it's like a demeaning word of some kind, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Actually, I think it's in regards of Gehenna. I think the word actually might be Gehenna behind this. So that would be the lake of fire. The problem is in regards of hell is that people mixes two things together and all that. And I think we can thank the King James Version for that, pretty much. So I'm far from a King James Version onlyness, but just look at the word Sheol in Hebrew. It's translated to 3 different English words. And Sheol is in regards to the realm of the dead, or the place of the dead. It's the same, it's the equivalent to Hades in Greek. Gehenna is something else. Gehenna is in regards to the lake of fire. So anyway, but the King James Version translates Sheol into 3 different words. And you can, if you just look at the King James Version app and have the Strongs and all that, you can see which word is actually behind. So you have one Hebrew word and it might actually be translated to multiple English words. Well, how is the reader to know that? Well, of course, they are, without actually looking behind the text, they are not going to see that. So it's not really a help, I think, when you translate a word to so many different things, when you could actually just have translated to one single word. Anyway, therefore, if thou bringest thy gift to the altar, and thou rememberest that thy brother had aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled by thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. And so forward. So he gives different. So what he is actually doing is not in regards to the law, he's not breaking down the law. He is just refining the law. He's, instead of stealing, and he says you shouldn't even, the thing is, Jesus is fixing, you shouldn't even think about stealing, of course, you shouldn't steal, but you shouldn't even think about stealing, that he's setting the level. He's not breaking the Torah. He's just setting the level higher in some sense. You shouldn't even think about stealing. You shouldn't even think of committing adultery. You shouldn't even thinking, about committing murder. Even if you don't do it, you shouldn't even think about it. You shouldn't think about. So he's not breaking the law. He's just putting it on on a more refined as far as I can see, as far as I understand. So yeah. But look at this, but I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. Just have to remember that adultery is actually, I do wonder what word is actually, I can't remember the details on that. But you have to remember that adultery is usually in regards if the woman is married or the man is married and all that. So that's in regards of adultery. I can't remember what the Greek word is actually behind that. But yeah. So here it goes on. It had been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. I think that is one of the commandments in the Torah, in the law. So what does Jesus say? But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, that would be, if she had committed adultery and all that. Anyway, because if she had actually had sex outside of marriage, that would be considered adultery. So saving for the cause of, fornication, again, that I'm not sure why they would actually, fornicate. It would be adultery in regards if she does that, if you are in a marriage. But anyway, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committed adultery. So here we, see, if your wife have been out, having sex with another man, the law actually talks about, stoning both of them. So if you actually divorce your wife at that point, because she has committed adultery, that would actually be an act of mercy, that you're not stoning her and the man. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committed adultery. I would guess, as far as I can see anyway, the best that I can do here. If you divorce, your wife and she hasn't committed, fornication, outside the marriage, then you're actually forcing her to commit adultery. So that's the standard that Jesus sets, So, but of course, if the partner has committed adultery, that seems to be the only cause that is allowed to, that's the scale that Jesus put it for, Again, ye have heard that it had been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thine oath. And then Jesus says, but I say unto you, you swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. So Jesus says we shouldn't swear. But of course, people will use Paul to actually say, oh, it's okay because Paul did it, I'm not sure if I still have the documents on that. I guess I should take a break or something like that. What have I been eating that should be wrong in regards of... I don't think I've been eating something I shouldn't be eating. I guess it's my fungus or something like that it makes difficulties at the moment in my breast. So I just had some what should we say? Issues. That was annoying. Anyway, I should probably take a break now and all that. I do wonder what I've, usually I haven't been eating anything that has had sugar in it or something like that. So, okay, of course I've taken a lot of antifungals and all that, but haven't really been eating something that I should have ticked it off. I guess it has its own life and all that. it's very sad that yeah. Anyway, I think a lot of people have fungus issues. It's actually fungus in the Bible seem also to be written in regards of, for example, Leviticus, in regards of what's it called? In regards of if there's fungus in the house and they remove things and it comes again and all that, and then you have to destroy the whole house and all that, or something in regards of that. That was, so they seem to, there seemed to be some kind of fungus, So it actually seems like the Bible also have something in regards of fungus, and it seems like our medical system have totally hidden that away, because there's a lot of money, in regards of just treating bacteria and just forgetting everything in regards of fungus. I do really, wonder in regards of, didn't really eat anything that, or maybe the fungus is just angry at me because I'm taking so many, antifungals at the moment. I'm just, giving it all, whatever I have in regards of antifungals, I've been, doing that. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a little angry at me or whatever. So I'm trying not to feed it and all that with sugar and all that. But yeah, I know. Also, it seems like mobile radiation actually does seems to also. I remember one of the times where I played a game and I had the mobile. I was running. Live stream, and I was having my mobile close to my leg, and it began to hurt in my leg, where my mobile, I was sitting with my, in the hand close to the leg, to my right leg, and when you're playing games and all that, I was playing something. I don't know what I was playing, but I was playing something and all that. And when you're playing a game, you can sometimes get away from the pain. That was, why I played a lot of computer in my past, because that's, if you're sick or something like that, and you play a game and you can forget that, sometimes you can forget that you're sick, playing the game, because you get so absorbed in it, or what is it called? Absorbed. Anyway, so I began to have pain in my leg, and, playing music from the internet and all that, and I was like, I was playing the game, so I just didn't take notice of the pain. It was like nearly like knives in my leg, and it became worse and worse and worse. So yeah, so at some point I had to do something about it. I couldn't really. So I turned off all the internet and all that from the mobile. But it just shows that the mobiles does absolutely have an effect on us. The question is on what levels and all that. I did see in regards of fungus, for example, where they did radiation in regards of what do you call? Maybe it's another in regards of mobile radiation and all that, and in regards of the fungus, and they found out. In these results, I've probably seen more of the results. I can't remember how many, but anyway, it's a long time since I did the research. But the thing is, they found out that the fungus was releasing more mycotoxins when they were what do you call it? When they were, what is it called, that word in regards of English? When radiation was there, they released more mycotoxins. Mycotoxins is fungus poison. Now, if we have poison, or if we have fungus in our bodies that the medical mafia is totally overlooking, and we're pretty much feeding these funguses by drinking alcohol, eating too much sugar and whatever and all that, living a bad lifestyle and so forward. Well, if then we have radiation around us, which we have more and more of. And then the fungus might actually just be releasing more mycotoxins, which of course is, poisonous to us, and thereby make more issues. It's a wicked world we live in, people. It's a wicked world. And no wonder in regards of, must be, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm sitting on the 4G at the moment. Usually I put it down to 3G. I don't know. Or maybe all the antifungals. I don't know. So, yeah. So anyway, guess I'll stop now. Have a good one, all of you. Just read the Bible, If you don't know who Jesus Christ is, start reading Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's, if you read the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you pretty much have a good idea who Jesus Christ is. And, just grow in Scripture, One thing, when you listen to people and all that, you never know, people can make mistakes and all that, like myself and all that. So, trying the best that I can, right? But that's the only, but you also have to be aware there's a lot of wolves in sheep clothing out there. And so you have to read for yourself. No one is actually, going to listen to the Bible. Just get going in some sense. Start. So I think a good start is reading the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and just be careful of Paul. He is a pretty good witness, and you can use but there's also some leaven in his letters, and I think one of the reasons why Asia Minor actually rejected him was because he was a wolf in sheep clothing. He looked like the real thing, and he also says things that are correct, but then you see him also mixing them or flipping things and promoting things that is clearly false. In regards of eating things sacrificed to false gods, but don't be seen by those down from Jerusalem. These are people weak. They don't have the knowledge that we have and so forward. What is that? Or maybe just following what the council in Jerusalem actually said. Don't eat anything that is sacrificed. And we have some outside sources of the Bible as well on this, which is also interesting. In regards of the things that is said to come from the Ebionites, which again might also be some Nazarene material and all that. They actually talk about this as well. They actually go deeper in the doctrine why, in regards of, yeah. But anyway, we also have the Didache. This has something in regards to food as well. Pretty much, I actually have it over here. But there's a lot of sources. See here. Yeah, this is one. Here we have the Didache. And this also has in regards of, not eating things sacrificed to, let's see if I can find it. And then actually it talks about the two ways as well in regards of the, what is it called? There's two ways. The two ways, what's called two ways. What are they calling it? Also here we have... the emphasis on works that the book presents is anti-Pauline, they say in the beginning. Interesting, right? Two roads, that's the two roads thing. But the thing is, it might actually have been edited and fixed, over time and all that. So one have to be careful when using the... But there are some interesting things in the document. It's called the first collection of rules in regards of Christians. But anyway... It says here in regards of eating, Didache 6.3, regarding eating, do the best you can. And I would think in regards of doing the best you can, the gospel is going out to the the Roman world and all that. And I think they do understand in regards of clean and unclean meat might actually not be that easy to get clean meat. Some of the places in the Roman pagan empire. But anyway, it goes further, and this is the interesting part, I guess. So, yet by all means, abstain entirely from meat sacrificed to idols. For eating such is worshipping the gods of the dead. Oh. So what is it that we actually have in our shops in our days? And our food slaughtered to a false god without a son? I have a huge amount of that in Denmark and other Western countries, apparently. They are slaughtering to Allah. And Allah is a god without a son, so thereby he is a false god, right? There are some interesting things in regard to the last things as well. I have Maranatha. Maranatha. Okay, we have some interesting things in regards to the end times. Again, it's an outside source and all that, but it's still interesting to see what is out there and trying to puzzle up the pieces. Using the Bible and seeing what the the Christians documents and all. We have a huge amount of documents. There's books and books and books and books in regards of information before the Nicene Council, and we actually also have books that haven't been translated into English yet, from the Middle East. So that might be some gold nuggets in those things. Who knows? So anyway, whoever comes. Okay, so DDK 11:1. Whoever comes to teach you lessons that have been set forth previously, receive him. If the Moray, that's in regards of, because it's Moray, I guess the teacher or something like that. I'm not even sure. That's the problem with these things when he uses Hebrew words and all that. And some of the books that he actually, one thing is to use these Hebrew words. Another thing is to forget to, because some of the words you cannot look up. No, the Moray is not here, so it's just annoying. It might be found on one of the other pages, but still, it should be in the, when you're, it's just, I think it's kind of stupid, in regards of mixing this. But anyway, so if the Moray, I guess, teacher is, or something like that, is off the mark, teaching a lesson different and destructive, do not listen. If the Moray is learning, leaning toward the greater Teshuvah and Da'at, again, Da'at truth, okay, Da'at is truth. Teshuvah, I'm not entirely sure what that is. Oh, righteousness, apparently. So, righteousness and truth of the master. Why not just translate it to that, in regards to the English? Of the master, receive that one as the master himself. And here regards Shlichim and Navaim, that's regarding apostles and prophets. Do according to the doctrines of the Tov Besorah. I think that's in regards of the what do you call it? The gospel. I'm not entirely sure. Let each apostle who comes to you be received as the master, but not to stay more than a day. No. Actually, this is not. But But if he asks for money, he is a false prophet. Paul actually, in regards of his letters, have a lot of deal in regards of money, and money to the poor people in Jerusalem and all that. You need to collect money. It's also interesting that he actually says to one of these in one of these letters that no, I didn't get any. The only thing that I was told was to get money for those in Jerusalem. Well, didn't you get like 4 commandments at least? And in regards to the book of Acts, we're told that the Council of Jerusalem, right? That the newcomers to the faith was to do these 4 commandments, right? And then, of course, the Torah is read on every Sabbath, right? So, but anyway, apparently Paul just forgot to mention those 4 commandments, apparently. And, but, in regards of collecting money, yeah, they just told him down now to collect, money, and he says, oh, but I already knew that, right? Did they really tell him, to collect money for them in Jerusalem? I don't know. Anyway, the problem, of course, is that, we have what we have in the New Testament, and, how much do we have from the Nazarenes, It's, anyway. There must be a huge amount of material, of documents that have been lost. Again, it's not to say that we cannot, patch things together, find things here and there and so forward. But, so let's see here. When leaving, let the apostle receive nothing but food until he finds a place to stay. But if he asks for money, he is a false prophet. I guess one could, because Paul was saying that it was to the poor one in Jerusalem and all that, something like that. Let's see here, from his roads and check. No. I have something. Oh, that's now just the in time. Oh, here we go. The last days. This is, kind of interesting, I guess, in regards to the last days. The last days. Watch over your own life. Do not allow your lights to be extinguished and your belt to be without a weapon. I don't know in regards to this weapon thing because, Jesus said we shouldn't actually, So I don't know about that. Again, you have to remember this is a document that is outside the. So and it could actually have been, I don't know how much editing and so forward. How much you have to kind of try to discern what is actually valid and what is not and all that. But you must be ready because you do not know the hour in which our master comes. So apparently they expect, the master to come, and of course that's Yeshua. So you must get, it might also, who knows if it's just an expression that you use in regards of belt be without a weapon. I don't know. Do not allow your lights to be extinguished and your belt to be without a weapon, but you must be ready because you do not know the hour in which our master comes. Again, I don't know if they would have been using, because it seems a little, in regards of, Christians are not told to go out and, So, but we are told to be ready in regards to, in regards to Jesus' return, right? In regards of, in regards of not just beginning to drink with the drunkards and all that. So you must gather yourself in your heart often, and your heart, I think, is in regards of a gathering, congregation or whatever, seeking those things that are most appropriate for you, for the whole time you believe will not profit you at all if you're not perfected in the final moment. Okay, so anyway, but here's some interesting things. In the last days, the false and lying prophets and corrupters will be multiplied, and the sheep will be turned into wolves, and love will be turned into hate. Now that's actually an interesting thing, because Jesus are talking about, that the love will grow cold because of what? Lawlessness. Well, I thought the law was abolished. A lot of Christians say the law is abolished. I don't know. Well, why do they say the law is abolished? Well, because they read the letters of Paul. Okay, for as crime increases, they all will hate, persecute, and betray each other. Then the deceiver of the cosmos will appear as though it were the Son of God, and it will work in a performance for performances and monstrosities, and the land will be giving over into its hands, and the land would probably be Israel, right? And it will do perversities such as have never occurred in any age. Are things where I'm like, it's like, of course, the last guy in regards to the papacy will be the guy that is destroyed when Yeshua returns. But okay, let's see here. Well, there are some interesting things as well in regards, the love will be turned into hate, in regards of when you take it with Jesus and all that. Okay, up here. Okay, let's see here. A great ordeal. Then all humankind will be brought to the trial fire. Many will be greatly dismayed and so perish, but the ones who, by their firm belief, stand up, they will be rescued by the Cursed One himself. Now, who would the Cursed One be? Well, if you look to the Jews, well, actually, it's funny, I actually had this while I was looking at a Jew, and he just used the Cursed One, the exact word that I just had in front of me. That was I think it was a so-called Jewish rabbi. He was pretty angry at some of the Christian Jews. But he used it in regards, of course, Jesus, is on the tree and all that. So who is the cursed one? That would be Yeshua. Then it says, signs of truth. Then will appear the true signs. The first sign, rending open the heavens. The second sign, the coal shofar. That's in regards of the trumpet, I guess. and the third a standing up of the dead. That would be the first resurrection. And then it says, yet not all. 70. Then it says, Jehovah will come and all the Kodeshim, that will be the holy ones, with him. Then will the entire cosmos see Jehovah approaching on the clouds of the heavens. Of course, we know that's Jesus, So, so Jesus is Jehovah, so that's, yeah. But again, you have to be careful with outside, material and all that. Well, I guess you have to be careful on so many levels. So, again, the more one knows in regards of the Bible, the Torah is pretty much the foundation of it all, So, there we have the festivals, we have the Sabbath, we have the foundation for pretty much, what is going on. So, but I would still, if you don't know who Jesus Christ is, start with Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. That's the 4 books about the gospel. And I pretty much read the book of Acts. And when I came to Paul, I really got into a lot of issues with Paul. That was something totally wrong. So when I came to his letters, I just skipped them. I pretty much skipped them. I think I also skipped Hebrews, but that would also have been written by Paul, I think. I think I skipped that as well. I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, I read, the rest, and then I read the letters of Paul last. And, there's just something just doesn't really add up with this guy. Yeah. So just, I'm just pretty much trying to, to keep to Jesus. So if you look at people just reading the letters of Paul, they're led into lawlessness many times, and they actually begin to attack the law as well. It's not so good. So anyway, just be careful of Paul. I could be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but and that's not to say that one cannot use his letters. You just have to, every time Paul is coming with something, get a second witness. Outside his letters. That's usually, don't take Paul's words as people think it's God speaking through Paul. I don't think so. I think someone else was speaking through Paul, but it wasn't God. And again, Jesus had warned us about wolves in sheep clothing that look very, that look very much the same as the Christians, yet they are wolves. And he warned us about the leaven of the Pharisees. Paul was a Pharisee. And Paul was a Roman citizen as well. So he was the first persecutor of the church, actually, of the Christians. The first Inquisition. And he went to Rome as well, by the way. So we know that by the book of Acts. If I remember correctly, the book of Acts actually ends with Paul being in Rome. So with his own God and all that, he can teach whatever and all that. If I don't remember wrong, so like the papacy, right? Where you have soldiers, the Pope have his own soldiers, and he's, and you have the Inquisition and all that, and for a Greek, and a Jew for a Jew and all that. Well. And the Judaizing thing, well, Paul started that as well, in regards of cursing people. Paul started that as well. A lot of things goes back to Paul. In regards of beginning to break the law and all that, well, Paul's letters have been used from, if you just look at John Chrysostom and all that, attacking the Jews and those that try, that keeps, those festivals and all. Well, who are he using to attack people? Well, he's using Paul. So this is a thing that is ongoing. So anyway, you can also see the Marcion prologues. We can see that 2 gospels going out in the world. Marcion believed that Paulus only had the true gospel. So he collected all the letters of Paulus, and he believed that the other apostles and disciples apparently was, didn't understand what Jesus, came to So you only thought that Paul understood it. Yeah, anyway. And Marcion, thought in regards of, without the law, And that's the same thing with a lot of people, think today, Oh, the law has been, is put on the tree, it's done away, it's evil, it's bad, it's trodden underfoot and all that, People will say a lot of things, They will say you will lose salvation if you try to keep the festivals of God and all that. That's utter bullshit, Just look at history in regards to, we know that Asia Minor kept, that, that was keeping these, So, and Passover seems to be the one that we have much, the most information on, and because there was this great conflict on it. But as far as I can see, I think they kept, all the festivals and the Sabbath and so forward in Asia Minor. Also in regards of defending Passover, Polygratus go into, the Polygratus writes the letter to Bishop Victor, and telling him some things. And there's some very interesting things in that letter. But, what was it? In regards to Passover. He says it goes back to John. Well, wouldn't, John being a Jew and Philip being a Jew, wouldn't those guys actually have been keeping, the festivals of the Bible? Well, I would think, yeah. And the Sabbath, yeah. They would have been doing the same thing as their master. And of course, Rome have tried to, this whole system have tried to change times and laws. Anyway, that's the Antichrist. Antichrist. That's the papacy. Anyway, have a good one. I think I'll take a break now and get off the radiation here.